First up for you, social networking, speaking of Facebook, has absolutely exploded. In the month of November alone, 100 million Americans visited Facebook.com. I've got more than 2,000 friends after what? I resisted Facebook. You tried to get me on there for 8 months?
Yeah. And look at you now, the Facebook queen.
Boom.
That's it. You've done it.
I'm trying to catch up with you.
You will do it. I know that. But this technology could open up legal landmines. Just this week alone, judges in Florida have been advised by the state to no longer friend lawyers on Facebook.
How interesting. And more people are finding out that what they post can be a factor in court. For instance, in divorce cases. What about pictures, perhaps, on your Facebook? Miles Mason, welcome back to Live at 9.
Thank you.
He's a family law attorney in Memphis, and I can just imagine the trouble you could get if you suddenly find your marriage breaking up and with things that you have posted over time.
Well, no question, but not only the things that you post, what we see more often is a posting of a photo early in the morning, late at night, whatever you want to call it, where there's activity going on that you wouldn't want judges to see in the courtroom. Those photos get taken with a camera phone or some other type of, of
Very
digital
easy
camera.
to upload.
You can upload it with your PDA right to your site from that event.
Right.
Your picture can appear on someone else's site. You get tagged, so it gets noted on there, and so someone who does a search on Facebook and can find the tagged photo.
And you can't get rid of it, right? Because even if it's in your profile, if someone else is tagged, they can spread it, and you can't capture it all back, right?
Most of the time, you don't even know it's there before you have a chance to go and tell the other person to pull it down. Usually, it's going to be posted by a friend, in theory. You could have them go and remove the photo.
But Miles, a lot of people are going to say, well, I thought this was maybe private. I thought this was perhaps something I was only sharing with my friends, and how could this be used against me?
Very easily. First of all, finding the Facebook information is not very difficult in divorce cases because the parties are married and they know the same people. It's not that confusing. And somewhere along the way, somebody turns and sends our client a photo or a piece of information or a status change or a reference to some type of drug paraphernalia or some other type of activity, sends it to the friends. We get the link at our office within seconds. We're downloading it, printing it out, and getting it ready for court.
Wow. So even if you do come back later and remove it, you've already printed it and you've already got it. What about who you friend or who you have as friends? Because as we all know on Facebook, a friend isn't necessarily someone you really even know.
That's for sure.
How careful do you need to be about who you accept as friends? Because suppose they're talking about the wild party and the drug paraphernalia, and I mean, guilt by association.
Yeah, I don't.
Is that a problem?
Not terribly so. In the courtroom, that could be easily dismissed. I think most of the judges are starting to get a sense of this. Now we have that ruling in Florida.
In Florida,
yeah,
right.
What's
now
that about?
The Florida ruling says judges can't be friends with lawyers who appear in his or her courtroom.
Okay.
So they could be friends with a lawyer that is a transaction lawyer, a real estate lawyer. But you're right, if I'm a judge and there's the line, I don't want to get near the line, so I'm just not going to Facebook at all.
But what about in the case, Miles, of folks in our business, in the news business, and you might, even though you might not be a personal friend of a politician or somebody on the city council, county commission, or general assembly, you still add them as a friend. Good advice there to do that, or should I stay clear of it?
Well, it depends on what your business is.
Right.
I mean, if you're selling products to somebody or a service that doesn't have anything to do with anything negative, I don't see a problem with that. Now, if you have large contributors to a particular politician and they're sending notes and posting on their wall quite a bit, I'd want to dial that down a bit. I mean, for obvious reasons. But obviously don't do anything on Facebook that you don't want to do in front of a TV camera.
So why do we do things like that then?
Because we're idiots.
Does that surprise you? And let's say, the Arlington mayor, for instance, I hate to beat up on you again, Russell,
making the comments about President Obama.
Yeah, he was totally surprised that this was not a private conversation.
Or he acted as if he was.
Right, and it made national news several nights in a row. I mean, it wasn't just here locally.
There is in every person a filter between what we think and what we say. Sometimes that filter is obviously thicker for some people than others. And politicians are very practiced and having a filter in front of a crowd, in front of a camera, in front of a constituent. But when you're sitting there, I mean, how many times have we made decisions, even small decisions? At the time, we thought it was a really good idea. Tiger Woods getting in the Escalade. Thought at 2:30 in the morning that was probably a really good idea for some reason. We don't know what that reason was. Turned out to not be such a good idea.
Right.
Same thing with these deals. You pull out your BlackBerry and, oh, I'm having a bad day and I want to get some sympathy for my friends. So you put down there, but embedded in there is a terrible admission about something that you've done to wreck your own marriage.
So if I do go to court, though, Miles, can I say, hey, it's because of my naivete. I don't know much about this Facebook thing, this MySpace thing, this Twitter thing. I just don't know about this, Miles.
You can try that. It just won't work.
It just won't work.
So has it gone so far that some divorce lawyers, for instance, just as an example, actually have someone in their office who they troll the client just in case?
There's a reason why we have several people in their 20s working in my office, because they know how to do it.
Very smart.
And the other thing is Match.com. I mean, and eHarmony. Oh yeah, we're checking that out on a regular basis. My staff has accounts on eHarmony and Match.com, and they're so they can do. I mean,
if someone
not
already
under their
has
real
an
names.
account, yeah,
but they're out there looking, and I go to court regularly with the profile there, and usually on the profile is something either inaccurate or embarrassing to that individual that they really don't want to have in the courtroom. Wow. It's amazing what people do today.
Be
smart. Be smart.
Watch who you friend.
Miles, thank you very much.
Watch what you say. Good to see you. And of course, you can find Miles at Crone and Mason, 5100 Poplar, Suite 3300, and there's the phone number and the website. He's watching.
That he is.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you, Miles. We're going to take a short break. We do have much more ahead.